Okie dokie. Yes.
All right, so we're on, and we, everything has been all about the whole COVID thing. You know what? Let me share this on. Hey, do some typing. Share to Facebook. So everything's been, constantly the pandemic. Go ahead. You know what? I don't need I already put the link to on my page. There's a link to call in if you want to call in. We want to talk to people. And we're going to talk about anything tonight except for the. Hey, you want to give them that link? Do you know it? Yeah. Except for the pandemic, we need a break. It's just constant bombardment on the news. So we're gonna find some other topics to talk about. I don't care if it's fishing, if it's wrestling, if it's whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, let's just have some conversations that have nothing to do with being locked up in the house and people getting sick and everything else. Because some of this stuff started hitting close to home. Last night's podcast had a dear friend of mine. His dad is hospitalized right now, and I don't know, didn't like it. It's starting to bother me a little bit. So we're gonna try and take a break. We're talk about some other stuff. So we don't have any viewers yet. So
I didn't post that. I want him to look over the.
Oh, you didn't post the. Oh yeah. I posted it.
I'm pretty sure it was good.
Okay. So yeah, we've got one viewer right now, but we don't want to talk about anything except for other stuff, not the COVID stuff. What did you find today that was interesting there, Garrett? As far as stuff, there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, we've been watching the Tiger King Netflix thing, and we watched all of it. It was I don't know, funny.
I don't know if it was funny. It was more like you had mentioned you seen when he was running for president. You had seen that when it happened, and if you hadn't said that, I probably would have thought that whole thing was just a made up story. I mean, that was insane.
Right.
It was seriously
right. No, I watch whatever that is, the weekend, whatever the thing John Oliver show is. Right. I catch that, and he had a segment maybe 6 months ago with the Tiger King on it. They played the segment on the Tiger King show, and he's a fucked up dude. It's some fucked up weird shit.
Yeah. He's actually got a new podcast now.
Hey, would you hit record?
I'm not positive. He might still be in prison, but
on the Audacity one.
I think the podcast is just kind of about the TV show.
Right, just somebody trying to cash in.
It doesn't seem like it's actually with him.
Right. Now, did you ever see so there was one that was similarly disturbing, the Grizzly Man one, where the guy decides that he's going to be like living with the grizzly bear.
Right. No, I did see that. We watched that in school, actually.
And then he gets
and he gets killed.
by the, right. And it's like the audio is
right, it's all there.
Yep. He's, what are you doing? And it's like fucking eating him and shit. It's like, wow. So those are, I find myself morbidly smiling at that stuff, but I'm not sure why.
I don't know. There's weird stuff. Like the murderer ones are usually weird because like the Tiger King, he's got a crazy personality. But all those the murder documentaries, they always have insane personalities. There's this one I think I showed you. It was called Don't Fuck with Cats. And they
yes, yeah. Which that was fucked up. That was weird too. But the Tiger King one, you could tell right away that all those dudes were on meth.
Yeah.
They're all got half their teeth.
Yeah, they even had a name for it. They called it meth mouth.
Meth mouth.
Yeah,
right. It's just screwed up as far as that goes. But did we shared this, right? Yeah. But anyway, so if somebody's watching and they want to throw something in the comments, I believe below there is the Discord deal. Hey Peyton, when you get a second, if you would plug that light in too, because we're looking shadowy. But if you comment that you're here, then we'll at least see you here. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed, please do, so we we see that too. But so yeah, the Tiger King thing, like it's like if someone sat down and tried to think up the most screwed up, and like, so you guys are another generation. My generation, if someone said to me when I was 18 years old that you and all your friends are going to watch a documentary about a guy who's gay, who's got a bunch of husbands, they smoke meth and have tigers and lions, and he's got like bleach blonde hair, like all that, everything creepy about that, you would not believe that for a minute that that's what you were going to do. But that's what everybody's doing right now. They're all watching this.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. It's like it's honestly the worst thing ever, but you couldn't turn it off. What was the other one that you guys had me? I like some like goofy stuff. Like, did you see Memento, where the guy Ted forgets everything every time he just forgets stuff. Like, and he keeps tattooing the answers to things on his body.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I like weird shit like that, like to watch that. But like that lobster one that you told me to watch, no. Like I was
Lobster was weird. I don't know who made that movie, but it was just everything about it was just how weird that society was like.
Right.
Like who thinks that stuff up?
Yeah, and I mean I like weird people. Like I like to have conversations with people that have strange shit to say. We've got a couple of callers that are we're gonna call people in the queue waiting. Peyton?
Yeah.
Okay. So let somebody get on and we'll go from there. Yeah, like I mean the stranger someone is, or strange is a bad word, like to use. The more different somebody is, the better.
Right,
Like,
sure.
they're not boring, right? So like it's cool. But yeah, just let us know when you have somebody and they're coming on. Netflix is there's a. Did you see I started watching a little bit. It's like Wild Wild World or Wild Wild. What? I don't know.
The one with the giant robotic spider?
No.
Wild West or something.
Something wild. Yeah, right. That's on Netflix also. That's like really. And then I don't usually get into most of that stuff, but I started watching the Black Mirror stuff,
Sure.
and that's like pretty screwed up. But that's like screwed up, like where it was all the AI and the robots and the dog thing was chasing them, and it was creepy. I'm not even much for. I know some people really love the horror movie stuff, but that's not. I think the slasher shit ruined it for me. Like it's not good.
Yeah.
I mean the Saw movies and stuff.
I was never really into those. Me and Peyton watched this. It wasn't really a horror movie, but it was kind of just like a suspense movie or something. It was called Grabbers, and it was on Hulu actually, but it looked like it was gonna be like just a super terrible, cheesy, horror movie. But we went on there and it was decent. It was actually really good. It was about this alien species or something. They didn't really mention it, but they were like giant octopuses or something, and they would come on land. And
what was the one with it kept going to flashbacks where people were like the guy was running and stuff, and it turned out in the end that they were all like experiments. It was like The Signal, and so it starts out like they're in a trailer and like they're trying to hack something, and they go in there and it turns out that they're like on an alien ship. They're all patients in a hospital. You know who Lawrence Fishburne is? The guy from The Matrix, Morpheus.
Yeah.
He's like a guy in a hazmat suit at the end, and it's like he's got a face that's his face, but it's all like robot shit. Yeah, there was another real weird one, which hey, someone comes up with something original that's better than the same story over and over again. But what do you got there, Peyton?
No.
Oh.
One person left, and then I asked this other person if they want to go on, and they said no.
Oh, no.
They're putting their kids to bed right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, any TV show that makes you think is always good, especially right now when everyone's locked inside. So
Right. No, which is cool. I don't. I'm not much for like. So he'll try and give me some comedy shows. The only comedy show that I've liked is that Curb Your Enthusiasm. I laughed. Like,
oh yeah, I thought you were talking about like a stand up or something.
no.
There's a lot of good ones with those though.
Dude, they must have got lucky, right? Because like Segura and Kreischer
Yeah,
and all
Kreischer.
those guys came out with specials
Right.
right before the whole lockdown thing happened. So like people hopefully catch those. I highly recommend the Segura one was damn funny. The Kreischer one was funny. And if nobody's caught the Triggered Rogan one, that was pretty good too. What do you got? Okay, just let us
No
know.
one's online.
Okay.
Right now.
But yeah, so those were good. All good specials as far as that goes. We watched that Fortune lady. That wasn't.
Yeah,
Didn't
I
care for
mean,
that much.
the Kreischer one and the Segura, like they're just kind of like out there dudes, but the other lady, she was kind of like you couldn't relate to anything about her. She was like big Southern lady.
Right, with
She
somebody
was
that
lesbian,
right,
like,
somebody might be able
what's going
to
on?
if you're big and fat,
Right,
like
sure.
everything like that. That then maybe you'd get it more, but it wasn't funny for me. The other things that are that we watch and stuff is all of we watched that World War II in color and stuff like that. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, with those one with I learned a lot. Like the Germans were all on that.
Sure.
I thought you were out
I
there.
don't think I was there with you.
Okay. Must have been me and Peyton, but yeah. So when the Germans took France and they took it fast,
Yeah.
they were all zoomed out of their brains on meth. Like they were all taking
Right.
pills,
Right.
and the French didn't know how hard they hit them. They couldn't figure it out because these fuckers weren't.
Right, day and night, they were all going all
They
the
weren't
time.
sleeping. They were just kept attacking them.
Right.
So
What's that show you started watching a few days ago with who's that guy that flew across the Atlantic?
oh yeah. I sometimes I can't get into stuff. The Plot Against America. It's Lindenberg or
Yeah, Lindenberg.
Linden. Right.
I watched a few more episodes of that. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
mean,
like get into
showing-
him, like his ideas. Like he was.
It didn't really get into him so much, but it did get into like how he and his campaign were able to like persuade people, even people that would like the Jewish people in the show that you would be like, there's no way those people are gonna go with him. He's like everyone calls him like anti-Semitic and everything, and somehow he turns a lot of those people.
Even Jewish people he was turning.
Right.
Right. That one rabbi. Now, what they're depicting in that is populism.
Right.
So like you would equate that to Donald Trump. Right? Like,
Sure, someone mentioned in it, people aren't afraid of. They were mentioning something about Hitler and that was in the Ozarks, and they said people aren't afraid of like a fascist leader. They're afraid of being different from their neighbor. Right. So that's.
and is there another chair? 'Cause that's gonna drive me up the wall.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's really loud.
Oh, I get it. No one wants to hear that.
No, what the chair or me? So yeah, no. As far as and we were watching the Ozark too, which
Yeah, that's a great show.
yeah,
They,
I know, right. It was
they know how to suck you in that show.
right, and then they kill everybody that they suck you into like thinking about,
Right.
which is crazy too. And then they keep at. I think that's what's cool about those shows. The first show to do that was The Sopranos. You guys,
Yeah, I never really watched Sopranos.
right? That's on HBO right now. So like the streaming thing, if you guys wanted to, that series had to be started before you were born, but it's good. But like they would keep every season they bring in like new Steve Buscemi
Sure.
is in there for a couple seasons, and like they keep bringing in new people, and then sooner or later it's the mafia. They're gonna whack everybody out on it and everything else. And then the other thing about The Sopranos that was different was there was some wacky stuff. Like he was dealing with mental problems, so he would have weird dreams and weird thoughts, and like he was always having sexual things with his therapist and stuff like that. They were just dreams. She wasn't having any part of them. But he was having like screwy things like that. And then they would flash back. His mom was like real old in it, but they would flash back to when she was young and like, you know, doing terrible shit too and everything else. But I tell you what, there's some people out there that are real sensitive to things, and they don't like gritty stuff, right? They don't
Sure.
like things like you couldn't make my mom watch Goodfellas.
Really?
No,
Yeah, okay.
she wouldn't want to know. I mean, I think they would say fuck the first time, and she's like, I gotta go. You know, that's it. I'm out. So, you know, that kind of stuff is no good for those people. But for me, I couldn't sit and watch Will and Grace or like, you know,
Like real touchy.
no, just like
something. I don't know
boring
what that
TV
is, but-
shows. I couldn't watch. I don't even know what's on TV anymore. Like I haven't watched a TV show in so long. But like I couldn't watch something that if nobody ever gets killed or nobody ever gets fucked or whatever, like nothing of that ever happens. Like I would be like, what are we doing here? There's nothing. The Ozarks thing is crazy because like the first season when they shot the cartel guy,
Right, he just turns around, it's boom.
yeah, she shoots him in the
Right,
face,
right.
and then you're like, holy shit, that was a main character.
That was the main character. He had so much power with the cartel, and you're like, there's no way he's gonna die, and it just
Spoiler alert! I'm sorry, I should have said that before I said
Right,
it. Somebody
first
was
season.
watching it, but right, I would hope that someone saw that by now. But it's freaky when someone takes out a main character, sort of thing. So, but anyway, so yeah, we're hanging out. We're you know trying to keep ourselves busy with that stuff. I'll tell you what, I got the news on a lot, right, and then at some point I get tired of it. I can't look at it anymore. It feels good to turn it off and look at something else, right?
Right, kind of
It-
disconnect from that whole. I mean, it's really repetitive.
Oh, it is.
You
It's
know,
the same
A
thing.
few hundred more people died, and it's like,
Right.
why is this getting normal?
Right. And the other thing is like you said the other day, you're like, why does the news just keep saying the same thing over and over? And it does. It's almost like every 30 minutes they run the same segment again. But that's the news. And, you know, you're your age. You wouldn't be someone that watched the news like that. It's too bad that it's not nicer out, like you were saying. You guys would be out.
Right, sure. If this was in a month, we'd be out in the boat and out.
For us,
and
it'd be
stuff.
easy. But like I said to you, I think that it would be terrible at the parks because
Yeah, probably.
people would just be doing
They
that
probably
shit.
have to close those. Like they closed the. I don't know why they closed that national park. The state park.
The mayor of Chicago just closed the lakefront.
Oh, really?
You can't be on Lake Michigan.
Yeah, I would think that would have a lot more people though, a lot more population density because there's so many people live around there.
Right.
But I mean, they're probably we used to go out to the Kankakee like state park with the dog, and there would be like 4 other cars there. It's a huge park. It's not like
Yeah, right. To be separated. That's all we were looking to do was to be separated from people, but be out, seeing something. Hopefully, I'd like for you guys to get out and catch some fish. It would be good if you could,
Yeah.
even just catch a dozen bluegills and we could, fillet them and fry them up, sort of a thing. But something to keep busy. So that's us here, right? We're lucky. We've got that stuff we can do. Other people, I would think they got to be going out of their minds. There were some jokes online that we were talking about that, like, someone's like, hey, just show me a picture of your home gym again. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to have to set armed guards there in about 3 weeks because think of all the people who only go to the gym.
right.
Then they can't work out anymore. Dude, like, I feel good when I work out. I like to go into the gym and stuff like that. If you took it away for 3 or 4 weeks, I don't know. I think some people are going to get depressed. Do you know what I mean? So, like, okay,
Yeah.
so when I was your age, I'm 30 years older than you. When I was your age, somebody that was in therapy, if a kid, a guy, 18 years old, came up and said, yeah, so I've been going and talking to my therapist, we would look at them like they were.
You're like a nut job,
Oh, so is it the same now? 'Cause
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, I didn't think so.
Well,
I
I
thought it was
think it
getting
is.
more and more acceptable.
It's probably
I
less. I
think-
mean, you could get a therapist through school. Like if you have problems, you can go to your counselor and get a
So the
therapist.
stigma's still there, though. Like some of the always got
A
problems.
little bit, right? But
I don't think it should be that way.
it's probably less.
I think that like every time that me and you have been in the kitchen, in the gym, and we start talking about science stuff, we start talking about even political stuff and everything else. If we have good conversation, then like I like it. I feel good after the conversation of having a good conversation. think there's a lot of people out there that don't get a chance to have conversations, and it's depressing. They need somebody to talk to. If every time you were like in your day, you were thinking, I think I'd like to stab a cat or something crazy like that, right? Wouldn't you want to talk to somebody about that?
Right. If you were talking to someone and they could catch it on the upbringing and then like,
Right.
you know,
And you guys
I've heard of it.
you guys have wrestling, right? So like you have your wrestling friends, so you can talk to your friends. You're constantly connected via Snapchat or whatever like that. So you have that. But there has to be people that you go to school with that are like socially awkward that don't
Sure.
have anyone to talk to. I don't know, like they could raise a therapist to tell them what's going on in their head.
Right, for sure. We always kind of say like if you didn't have friends in wrestling, you'd probably quit right away. Like wrestling can get really stressful and
Sure.
whatnot.
Right.
So you need friends to push you through that long season.
Right. And if you were someone that was socially awkward, then you wouldn't. I mean, some people, the social thing is way more important than it is to other people too.
Sure.
For me, like I had a lot of friends, but I wasn't like trying to make friends all the time. Like I wasn't like
You were trying to be that cool kid.
I really wasn't. In fact, I had so I think back at being younger, like you guys, and I think it would have been cool now to have had somebody that like once a week I sat down and told them exactly what was going on in my life and what was going on in my head. Because there were times when I absolutely hated the cool people. I couldn't stand them. I couldn't stand them so much that I didn't want to be like them. Like for me, that was the reason for the mohawk and stuff like that. Like I cut my hair that way and everything else because I looked around and I was like, I don't want to look like you. I want to look like you. I don't want to be like, fuck all your rules. I don't want to be like this. I certainly don't. I had a real grudge against the whole like frat boy, fucking yuppie, like anything like the guy with the alligator on his shirt. Like I fucking hated that shit. I didn't like boat shoes and like that was like the thing to the popular thing to wear and
It's
stuff.
still a thing. Yeah.
I couldn't stand that shit.
Wearing those.
I had one buddy wore those shoes and those socks, and his fucking feet smelled like fucking
Yeah.
worms. And I was like, oh god damn! Like I don't know.
Yeah.
So like everybody else would go to the mall and go shopping. I would go to the Army surplus store and buy boots, and then I went to like where did I go to went to like some goofy restaurant like place that had like checkered pants and stuff like that, and I bought all that kind of crap. And like I was doing whatever the fuck I wanted to do, and I didn't. I used to get in a lot of fights, so I wasn't worried about somebody picking on me because I was different, sort of thing. In fact, I think I was inviting it. I was like, all right, who's gonna pick on me? Like let's do that. Because I thought it'd be, exciting if somebody like decided to be like, ooh, fucking, whatever. Like I'm like, really?
Right. We don't really get that at school anymore. But I think
I know,
it'd be
which
good
is
if we did. Like we don't have hardly any bullying. I mean, we have like a lot of bullying online and stuff. But
that's because they can be tough guys when you're not.
right, if you don't have to show your face, you can be as tough as you want.
Right. Well, so I had it the other way, and I'll tell you like a crazy story. Like I was a little tiny guy. I was probably second grade, and there was a bully that was like in fifth grade. He was like a big fat kid, and he would just wait like 2 blocks down the street, right from the school. So we would have to walk home past this guy, and he would like pull all the normal bullshit where he knocked your books out of your hands. He grabbed your backpack and threw it in. There was a road that was kind of like had semi-trucks on it. He would wait till a semi-truck was coming and try and throw your book bag out there. This kid was like, there's something wrong with him. Like it was like, one of my friends, he like cornered him and made him like give him his pants. And the kid was like, naked, like his Pooh Bear in it. You know what I mean? Like, so he had to like go home with no pants on and everything else. Like all this other stuff. So all bad stuff. Like, when you first ran into him when you were in first and second grade, you would just run away and like you were scared. Some kids cried and stuff like that. And then, at some point we started to be like, well, the hell with this. And you started kicking them and like punching them and like, and then he'd start to leave you alone and he'd go pick on somebody else. So you kind of like grew a little bit from it. Then when I moved to Frankfurt, we had the same thing. You had some bullies, a couple years older and stuff like that. We'd run into those guys 5-6 years later when you were bigger than they were, and then beat the crap out of them. And it felt like you grew. When the anti-bullying thing started with maybe like 10, 15 years ago, and my first reaction was, well, that's good, because that was a shitty time to have, right? But then I was like, I don't know if that's good or not. Like, you should be forced to have some adversity with that thing. You know what I
Right,
mean?
some
So
kind of
you
adversity
feel-
you could overcome. I think we used to watch we used to have to watch like seminars at school about cyberbullying. Because I think cyberbullying is terrible. Like, there's no way you can overcome it most of the time. I mean, you
I
can't
think
get
they should
bigger.
do right. That, but I think they
Most
should
people just bring the cops into it, and then people look at you like you're messed up because
I thought there was a campaign that was like, it'll get better or something like that. Like, because I think the problem is cyberbullying is one thing, right? Like, yeah, if you let it get to you, there's people that hate stuff that I post and they get all mad. They make comments. I mean, I had a guy tell me just today that I'm sick. I'm sick. Sure. I'm like, all right. I posted something. He got on the post and called me a troll. I'm like, dude, you're on my stuff. I mean, for me to be a troll,
Right,
I don't have
sure.
to go on your stuff.
yeah, I mean, that's one thing. But cyberbullying, like they'll follow you everywhere. It's usually someone you would know, especially with younger people. And then,
So would it be if it's someone you know, would it be someone that would threaten you outside of the cyber world?
it'd probably be both. They probably get like some kind of information or pictures of you that you don't want out, and then threaten you with something.
What's the point? Like, why do you know anyone that's ever done it to someone?
No, I mean at West we don't really have that as much, or I mean I guess it doesn't get out because I don't really hear stories about that. But I guess just the same as normal bullying, like just so you feel power over someone.
What does so I mean the big downside for me to the bullying thing is that somebody would commit suicide.
Right.
Right. Now have you had someone at West that committed suicide? We had people at Central when I was there that did.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
there was
not
a
at West actually. When we were at the junior high, this guy's sister tried to, but didn't.
Yeah, sometimes that's just like I'm trying to get caught sort of thing. Like there was a guy who knew that his mom was going to be there at a certain time, and he did something to himself, knowing she'd show up, and then she didn't show up, and he died.
Right.
Like she was late, you know what I mean, sort of.
Right. I mean that still shows there's something major going on.
Yeah, it's just
Right.
cry for help for sure, right? We someone's got to pay attention, but the other ones that like the suicide thing, I never understood that. Like there was a murder suicide when I was in school. The guy killed his girlfriend and then shot himself. And I
Was it
think
like
it
a
was
planned out thing, like kind of a cult thing?
no, I think it was like she was leaving him and he couldn't
Really?
take it, so he killed her and then killed himself. So like kind of crazy, like oh my gosh, like. And I remember thinking to myself, there's no girl that I would ever.
Right.
Like,
Right.
there will be another one. Why would I do that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems so crazy to me, but I can't get inside his head. So it almost seems like there should be more therapy as far as that goes. Because not having someone kill themselves, that'd probably be the goal, right? Like,
Sure.
if somebody had to, I don't know, if someone's cyberbullying you, if they can't, like, you're a guy that's got 1,000 wrestling matches, right?
Sure.
If someone's cyberbullying you, you probably could beat them up anyway.
Yeah, I'd probably try and make it a physical thing instead of that.
And if it wasn't though, couldn't you just use your brain to try and, like, I don't know, outwit him on the
I guess
bullying
you could,
thing?
but I think a lot of people that get cyberbullied are probably, like the shy people or weaker people. And if you have everyone at your school that probably knows what's going on because it usually spreads really quick,
Right.
you probably don't want to, put
Yeah,
yourself
'cause
out
that's
there.
a weird one too. Like when with you guys, so explain. Okay, so like Snapchat and stuff like that. Is it on Facebook to interact with somebody? You generally have to be connected with them, right? And then you can block them and all that other stuff, right?
Sure.
So if you're commenting on someone's post, then you know the person that you're commenting on. The only time you interact with someone you don't know is when it's somebody that they're friends with and you're not, and then you're going at it, sort of thing. And then if it got out of hand where someone was like way out of line, you could just block them, then it'd be over with. But the dynamic with what you're talking about is there's a kid that's not so popular. You're all in a forum together. It's usually the more popular kid that's doing the bullying.
I wouldn't say I want to form together. I mean, like, it would maybe happen on Instagram or some other thing like that, because he would maybe post something and then you would say something in the comments or post another picture about that where everyone could see it. Snapchat, I like Snapchat a little more because it's more personal. You have like your group of friends, and it's basically just like the messages app on your phone.
The problem comes with the sharing part, right? Because then somebody gets a photo that looks bad about somebody, and then it's like fire. Everybody's got it, sort of thing. So then this guy's mortified, embarrassed that he can't go on as far as that goes. But I mean, is the dynamic usually that it's a popular kid bullying a kid that wants to be popular, but he's not, so he's like trying to hold him down? Or so like when people picked on people when I was growing up, it was in person.
Sure.
And it was always a guy that was moderately popular, like he had some friends, and he was always standing on somebody that didn't. And to him, I think it made him feel like he was more popular or cooler because he was showing people he was dominance on top of this other guy.
Right. You definitely get a lot of attention. I mean, you probably get a ton of views for, picking on someone like that. And then, you feel like you're more than you are.
Yeah, but I mean, how do most of the things in my life, I hate to say it like to my son, but when I was that age, they were dictated by girls. So what I thought girls would think. Now, if I was picking on some guy that was smaller or littler or not as popular as me, I would think they would think it was a dick.
Right, yeah.
So how does that work out, right? Like, you're 18 years old, so I can talk to you like you're a grown man. I was generally trying to get laid. So, like, doing that would not help you, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure. Well,
you'd be an asshole, right. So it don't make any sense. So I don't get it. But, like, I'm trying to understand the dynamic of trying to, like, do you in any way get hero status for, like, totally fucking with somebody?
That's the thing, but yeah, I don't think you do. I think you just kind of get you kind of get people to be afraid of you almost, I guess. Like if you were that bully, but I mean, if you're bullying someone like that and then, the day it stops, no one's going to care anymore. But if you're just like a genuinely really cool guy, people would still be your friend and still want to be around you,
See, I found that to be the really cool, the people that I thought were like, oh, that guy's really cool. We went, so Lincoln Way was set up that if you were in Frankfurt, you were at East for 2 years, and then you all went to Central together. When we got to Central, we knew people because we played football and stuff like that. So you knew people that were there. We partied with these people. But when you all got to be in school together, all of a sudden there were other people that you didn't party with, you didn't know, they weren't athletes. That you're like, hey, this is my friend Brian, and you look and you're like, oh wow, this guy that I'm friends with on the football team is friends with like this little 95-pound, as nerdy as can be guy in the world. And my impression was, wow, my friend's pretty cool because he doesn't act like a dickhead
right.
to these other people. We had guys that I liked. I mean, I generally liked them, would be at a party talking to them or at someone's house talking to them. There were guys that were not partiers, so they would be like around in the daytime, but as soon as nighttime came, we were getting a little crazy. They would leave, right? But then if you saw them at school, we were still friends with them and stuff like that. But then there were other people that were like, what are you friends with that guy for? He's a dork or something like that. And I'm like,
right, why do you care?
Yeah, why do you care who I'm
Let him
friends
do
with?
his thing.
For me, was never a race to be like the popular.
Yeah,
right, I couldn't care fucking less.
The coolest people are always the people like. The easiest way to be cool is not try to be cool.
Right. The toughest guy that I ever knew growing up and everything else, he had a buddy named Angelo who I liked. But Angelo was a little tiny, like 90-pound guy who wasn't going to fight anybody or anything like that. And other people were like, why is Danny hanging out with that guy? No one ever would say it to Dan because Dan would probably punch him in the head. But like, it just seemed strange that like being an accepting person wouldn't be cooler than being.
Right.
Makes me think that someone's insecure when they're like that.
Right. No, they are for sure.
Right,
You know,
right.
trying to put someone else down so they can feel up. But
You guys said you had the one buddy who was like, putting up the Instagram stuff or the whatever it was, that Snapchat that you showed me, and I was thrilled that this guy was like,
right, yeah,
that's on the spectrum or whatever like that. Like he, loved you guys, and like that's great. You guys should treat people nicely, and it's a smart thing to do. Like I was talking to your sister a long time ago. I'm like, hey, you just need to go through life being nice to every single person. It doesn't matter who they are, because if someday there's Dave. Yeah, right. So Dave's just saying, I'm glad we didn't have this technology. And it's the truth, because I don't know where it would have gone. I don't know who would have been who if you had it. You guys had said to me like, let me finish with your sister though. Like, so I said, be nice to everybody. Someday you may own a business. That business might be slow at a time, and you're like, oh man, if a customer just come through that door, I could use that customer. And then a customer comes to you like, thank God I'm gonna make my bills. And that customer looks at you and goes, oh, it's you, dick. Right. You're the dick that was a dick to me in high school, and they turn around and walk out. Well, now you ain't making your bills. So there's an economic advantage to being a decent fucking person too. But yeah, Dave just commented saying if we had to technology, and you guys went to a party like 8-9 months ago, and you're like, I think Peyton said it's weird because you know all these people from Snapchat or Instagram, but then you don't know them when you go to the party. Like you wouldn't talk to them, but you know them.
Yeah, I mean, you know who they are because everyone tries to put everything out there, but a lot of people just like especially Instagram, everything on someone's Instagram is going to be really cool stuff, the best parts of their life. And
yeah, right.
And then they're not really that cool. They're, trying to get as many likes as they can. And stuff.
Dude, wait till you get your 40s. Every damn woman that puts a picture up there, she don't look anything like the picture that she puts up there.
That's how high school is too.
But I mean, the way that the filter thing works, like they are and I mean, the bad thing is this. Looks are shallow, right? Like that shit's gonna fade no matter what. There are women that I think are interesting that are not the best looking woman that ever was, right? So if you just worked on your personality and worked on being interesting, like that goes a lot further than the whole thing does. But like it is really strange to see everybody's Instagram or Facebook photos, and then you run into them in public and you're like, oh, whoa, it's not even close. Like, what the fuck? That's the running joke too. Like, you could be like a guy that's like, your Facebook profile picture is, 18 years younger than you are. Mm-hmm. And then, it's an old man that shows up sort of thing. So, that's always super strange. But anyway, so yeah, I find it weird that you guys don't have bullies. I also find it strange that you guys don't really have fights.
I think a lot of that's just because everyone's got a camera with them, and if someone was fighting everybody and you didn't want to get beat up or something, I mean you can report them like instantly. And then
he gets in that extra like feeling of like, what if I got beat up on camera?
All right, sure.
We're gonna do everything I can to avoid it. I think you should still do everything you can to avoid a fight. But I just find it like you guys don't have this because you wrestled so much. You get to learn something about yourself if you're on the bottom of something, right? I mean, how many people have you seen in wrestling that as soon as it looks like it's over,
right,
it's over? Because they quit. And they got no constitution as far as I'm concerned. Like, that's not, like, I judge a guy by can he be getting beat and then keep going to get it. And then the other flip side of that coin is how many times have you seen somebody that looked like they were going to get beat and then they turned it and boom, they won.
Yeah, you generally think those are cool people. I mean, like I fought with some of my friends, like not like, in a try and hurt anyone way.
Yeah.
And then like seeing them fight other people that I don't really know so well, and you kind of get like a feel for who that person would be.
Right.
And if that person's just kind of, like putting up a front all the time and acting cool, and then the second anything goes bad, they're nobody. And you're
Right,
kind of like,
right.
who are
I don't trust those people with my friendship, to be honest with you. I don't trust you
Right.
with my back.
Right.
I don't trust that you'll do the right thing.
Right. The second anything went bad, they might be, telling people stuff about you that, they shouldn't be telling.
Right. So I mean, there's all kinds of memes and sayings and shit that are like that stuff too, where it's like, if you're hanging out with somebody who is always talking about somebody else, what do you think they're doing when they're hanging out with that other person? They're talking like, I never understood any of that. I never really got the whole badmouth everybody. I never got the I just didn't get it. I didn't get it. Like I said, I'm always just looking for a laugh. Most of my friends that the group of friends we would make fun of each other. Like nobody was that shallow where like it was like it bothered us, sort of thing. I mean, every time I see Tony Talamani tells me how ugly I am and stuff like that, which I find hilarious.
Mention his height ever.
Right, every single time I see him, right? Like I tell how short he is. So like, but it's not a thing that if I don't do that with somebody, that just means I don't know them well enough, maybe I don't like them well enough, or I know that they don't like me, so that I'm not going to do that. So like if, if I don't make fun of you, then we're not friends. There's a point though, like some people go too far with it, and then it's too much. But anyway, so what else has been going on? What you looking into building anything? What's coming up?
I mean, not yet. I haven't really found anything we want to do. We're kind of
You
still
can pretty much
trying to
find anything on Amazon that you want. To
right,
put
for
together.
sure. I don't really know.
No, we got
Not really anything out there. We're still trying to work on that little solenoid motor thing.
right.
But
We need some
everything-
more projects for sure around here, right?
We need to find something to do.
Well, I mean, we are doing the painting and stuff like that, but I don't know. It feels weird right now to be. We're working like 3 or 4 hours a day, like that kind of thing, doing what we're doing around here. I would feel weird if we were all stuck home and we were working 8 hours a day every day. Like I was making sure you guys were up at 7 a.m.,
Yeah.
which, by the way, you guys are winning that battle. I
just want to say today, I woke up at about 12 o'clock, ate breakfast, and then I went back to bed and woke up at like 8 o'clock.
You didn't wake up. You didn't eat breakfast at noon. What are you talking about? You ate breakfast at like 2:30 today.
Yeah, I kind of got up, ate food, went back to bed and did this, and that's it.
Right. And I mean, my plan was to let you guys do that because I figured you'll just stay up the whole night tonight, and then you'll be up in the morning again because like this is getting crazy. Like I mean, you guys are up at like 4:35 in the morning. It's getting to be way, way, way too late.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were really standing guard, there would be some benefit to this because somebody would be awake all the time. But you're freaking me out. Like at 4:30 in the morning, I'm like, I hear the door open, the front door. I'm like, who the fuck's coming out
Yeah.
at 4:30 a.m.? So no, that's a little bit too much. But we got to get back on that. But we do have to get back to doing the painting of the trim and everything else. The stuff that we've done has come out good, but we gotta keep cracking at that, and then hopefully in the next 3 or 4 weeks here, we get kind of clear to start building some of the decks and stuff that we've got coming up for this spring. But you guys cannot have your days and nights backwards when we go to start to maybe fall asleep at work. But
Right. I don't know. Do you know when we're gonna be able to get back to that? Like going to people's houses and stuff?
well, I really don't know, and it's really tough because like one of the decks that we have to build is for a couple that they're in their, I think they're like late 60s or mid 60s. So you don't want to be infecting those people in any
Right.
way. We can get material ordered and everything else like that without ever talking to anybody. We can do all that by email. They have an account at the lumberyard, so that's not a problem. And then we can deal with the homeowners on anybody can deal with us right now. Like,
Right.
or not,
Right.
I guess, no, not yet. Wednesday will be 14 days without interacting with.
Oh, I thought you meant like over text or anything.
No,
because
for
we're not busy.
right now, I think they're saying 14 days with no symptoms and nothing
Yeah.
that you're usually clear. So Wednesday of this coming week coming up, we will be clear, where we haven't had any contact with anybody. So then we'll know that nobody here has it. If somebody else has been, if someone's out there and they've been seriously quarantined, like we haven't really been around anyway, because we have not. We've been super disciplined about this, trying to do our part to get back to real life. Technically, I guess if they really hadn't hung out with anybody, we could hang out with them.
We could be best friends, yeah.
Right. So yeah.
Right, I don't know how that's gonna work. I think this week coming up, we're technically on spring break, so we don't have to do e-learning. And then they added a week on the end of that we're gonna do e-learning, and then at the end of that, they'll decide where to go from there.
Now, has anybody, like friend-wise, been like, fuck it, let's go do some stuff?
Well, at this point, yeah, it's been
I'm sure it's
what,
gotta
2
be getting
weeks
to
or
that point.
so.
I mean, I'm ready to be like, fuck it, let's go, find some loose women or something. I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, all my friends are texting me like, we gotta hang out, we gotta do. They're like trying to make plans for like in 2 weeks, and I'm like, you want to make an actual calendar for that?
I'm telling you, I'm gonna make a new start to. I think it's gonna be hard because it's like people get in this groove of really not doing anything with themselves and everything else. But like, I'm gonna start making a rule not to text people all day long today. I've been texting with people, like a couple different threads as far as people, just some I don't know that well. Like the one woman I talked to today, like I don't know her that well, but we were just chatting back and forth. And then some other people that I'm good friends with. The good friends thing, I think I'm gonna start being like, hey, we need to find a way to FaceTime instead of. I see you guys doing that all the time. Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's something we do more often for sure.
Right. Well, I know people my age don't want to do that shit because they're not.
I got one friend that like it's like kind of a joke with him because like he'll say hey, and then you say hey back, and just right then he'll FaceTime you like, I don't want to talk, or you're like not wearing
I
any
think
clothes or
that's better.
something, right? You just right.
I do. I think it's better. I think it's.
But
more
then
of
the
a
thing is,
personal-
like, it's like a speakerphone and a video. And then if I'm hanging out with other people or I'm eating dinner, I'm like, I'm not going to talk to you about whatever weird things you want to talk about right now.
Yeah. Right. But when you have time,
Yeah, right.
it's a better way to
Yeah,
have a conversation face to face. I think they need to make a thing where you're like that thing that I got, but it's too close. Like, so that thing I have around my neck to videotape you guys when you're wrestling, but it needs to be like a foot and a half bigger so that the camera was further away from my face. But I think that because like it's weird not for me not to see anybody. Like every time I go in the lumberyard, I talk to the sales guy Tom. Right, we sit down, but we talk about like how you doing and stuff like that. So you get some interaction that way. And then like I was always planning when you guys went away to school. Like we should get those like portals or something like that, so that I could see you, right? Like I have a talk with you. As far as it goes, like I mean, we don't even being your father, we don't talk on the phone.
No.
If there's a time where like I gotta get a hold of you, like I'm not gonna send you a text and wait for you not to reply. I do call then.
Sure.
Or if I have to get a hold of you and I'm driving, because I'm not gonna text and drive. So then, but otherwise, I don't ever. Nobody calls, none of that stuff. It seems to me it's creepy, but in the house there's a TV here that's our monitor for the podcast. There's a TV in the living room. There's a TV in the kitchen. In the summertime, there's a TV outside. There's a TV in the gym. And there's a TV in my bedroom. If all those televisions had a camera on them, which some people say they already do,
Right.
but if all those TVs had a camera on them, and you had a Bluetooth earpiece or something like that just would go from, like somehow all the TVs were hooked up, you could live your life and have conversations with people, and then they could just like go from room to room talking to you while you're doing something. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't that be?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I think that there's some porn chicks that do that now, right? They do like a whole webcam or some shit where they're like.
I mean, they kind of are in front of their computer. They're not like
Is that right?
traveling around their house.
I'll be honest, the whole porn thing, it's actually kind of boring. Yeah, like I've looked at porn, and I'm 48 years old, but like some of it's just like, wow, like who thought that this was like, you're 18, so like anything is probably exciting, but like some is just like it's just dumb. But what I'm saying is like I don't know, where does communication go from when I was your age and you wanted to talk to your friends? You had to go to the kitchen, get the phone off the wall, and then stand there far enough away from the thing that the cord still reached your ear, right? Then the big freedom was when they had the headset that was wireless, right? That was the big, oh my God, I can go like in my room. I can go anywhere I want with this thing. Dude, it had an antenna like this long. And you were walking around. And if you broke the fucking antenna, it was like, you couldn't fucking hear the person. You had to get a new phone or a new antenna. Now you've got a cell phone. Where do you think it goes 10 years from now? Let's do 20 years from now, and you've got a 12-year-old or so son. How's he communicating with his friends? Like if you set your room up with a couple cameras in it.
Right. No, you would definitely have cameras all around your room. Maybe it'd be something, like in Star Wars when they have like the council and stuff, and Yoda and those guys are like
Holograms
in
Yeah.
the room. You
Right.
could just be there. That could be it because if you had cameras all around your room, you could project yourself into someone else's room. You could
Well, the
be able to-
hologram, and then like if you're like if what if you were like injured or sick or something? Everyone went to a party. They could just like throw the hologram on the table, and then there's
Yeah, there
you.
you
You know what
are.
I mean? You're at the party. You can like,
Right.
turn around, look at shit, everything else. Like I don't know. It's got to go somewhere else because I'm telling you right now. Nobody, when I was 18, thought this was going to be a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we did think that you were going to be able to possibly video call somebody. Like that was
Sure.
a thought. That was like, hey, this would be cool if you had a screen and you could do that. But nobody thought your phone would be the screen that you were going to walk around with. But I think that would be neat. I don't know. It's weird because like, even this conversation is like it's labored because it's like, okay, sit down and we're going to have a conversation right now. It's different when you go somewhere with somebody because you start doing stuff. The best conversations I ever had in my life in a boat.
Oh yeah, like when you're bored and you just
Well,
have
it's
all
not
the
even-
time in the world.
Right. It's that the conversation kind of happens when it happens.
Right.
So like a friend of mine, or guys, I say he's my friend, but he was a guy that I got paid. You had paid him to go guide me, right? But it turned out he was like a year younger than me, so we were the same age essentially. We started talking. We started finding out we were into the same kind of music, same kind of girls, like all this kind of stuff. So like we would get out there and probably like I wouldn't see him for like 6 months or maybe 8 months. Get out in the water with him. The first couple hours are hey, they're greetings, stuff like that. Then after that, you start talking about stuff. Then you start remembering stories about this, about that, and stuff like that. Like it was so different to have conversations that way. I used to go to Canada with like 6 other guys, and then every day we'd spend in the boat with the guy with the new person. Well, you would get to know like, oh my God, everything about that person. Like you know they had kids, you know where they worked, you know, like more than you should know because you're on the boat. It was fun to have those conversations. These conversations are a little bit tougher because it's like, all right, we're going to do it right now in front of a camera and have a talk. Like there's more to do when you could go out with your friends.
What is it?
But there's more things that you can do. Like there was no such thing as an escape room when I was a kid.
Sure.
So they're like that. Like we used to drive. Just trying to give you the feel for what we did. We used to drive from Frankfurt all the way out to Crete. It was like a 45-minute ride to get to a place that had miniature golf and go-karts. So you had to drive almost an hour to go to something like that. Now that shit's everywhere.
Right, everything's kind of in Frankfurt.
Yeah,
That's
right.
We'll go to Frankfurt a lot for stuff. There's tons of food in Frankfurt too, so just kind of hang out in Frankfurt a lot.
Right. I mean, we used to get in the car and drive out to Joliet, go to the quarry, and go swimming and stuff like that. So I mean, we had fun. We always did shit, but you guys do a lot more virtually than we would ever have done as far as that goes. If you don't, is there ever a time where people are like, I just don't feel like doing the whole going out? Can we just like, we're gonna just, do you do it in a group ever where people are like, talking to each other?
Well, we have like group chats and stuff. Some of the group chats are almost like.
But that's
almost
text,
like,
right?
yeah, that is
Yeah,
text.
it's not FaceTime.
Not FaceTime. A lot of those are almost like passive stuff. Like someone will like say something funny. It's funny how it works. Like someone can say something funny or send something funny, and the only interaction is everyone like likes it, and then it just goes away. We're like, okay.
Right,
Right. But
So
we never do like
your
a.
sense of humor's got to be built differently than mine was.
Probably. I mean, we have like certain things like in media and stuff that we all kind of like, and then we'll like make jokes about that, but it's not always like stuff about each other or whatever like that.
Everything you guys can do though, it's almost cheating. You guys are measured. Like you can edit a comment and be like, oh no, like that, like that. Like
Well, I don't know about that. Snapchat's like because everything disappears right away. Like they tell you, like if I screenshot something, it will tell you I screenshotted it. If I delete a chat, it'll tell you I did it. So like you can, but then like you can't, because if I delete something, someone will be like, "What was that?"
I've just seen people
Especially if like you
that
didn't
look,
really know them that well.
I've seen people that look clever on social media, and then you hang out with them, and they're not very clever.
Right. Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know if it's copy and pasted from something or a screenshot from something that they're coming back with it, but like I know people that would be fine with getting in a debate with me on Facebook, but they wouldn't want to do it face to face.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Because they can like go over what they're writing and stuff like that. And for me, I would much rather do it face to face than the Facebook thing. And I also think the social media thing, you guys probably don't with your friends. Like, is everything with you when you do it in social media smaller too? Like, okay, so if I put a post on Facebook, because I'm a guy my age, Facebook's where my friends are hanging out at. Everybody sees it, right? And then the commenting comes from other directions, right? So if it gets heated, you'll get a thread, and then the people that like, not my friends, not people who are really tight with me, they'll just come in there and start arguing too, right? So I've got I'm trying to argue with 4 or 5 different people at one time.
Yeah, no, that's how Instagram would be. You would post something or something like that, and people can comment below it, and you can have conversations about that.
Right. Yeah,
And everyone can come in. Anyone that follows you pretty much can come in and get in the conversation.
So
Yeah, so that anyone can get in the conversation like that, and I mean, if you were having like a online fight with someone, you could text your friends and be like, "Get over here and support me in this."
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Sure.
See, I don't do that ever. I don't want and some people get offended. Like the one person, like, I don't need help. I got this. It's fine. So like that, right? So for me, like I think people are wittier and quicker. Like I'll have people that I know that they're like right in the middle of it, going back and forth, and then all of a sudden they go away for like 10 minutes. Now maybe they got busy, maybe something happened, but chances are they didn't have anything to say, and then they thought of something 10 minutes later, and I'm like, oh dude, no, you can't.
Yeah, it's called a quip for a reason.
Right, no, George Costanza, it's a quip because it's fast. If you gotta come back,
right.
you can't like that. That's
Yeah, right. What were we talking about?
Yeah, right. And then some people, like when they get serious about it, I'm never really serious like on the whole social media thing. But when some people get serious about it, there's times where I just leave it. Like I'm like, all right, I'm done with it.
Yeah, social
getting
media
all
is
crazy.
probably about
Yeah, like
some cat picture or something. No one actually cares.
also like I'll have things that like I'll say something that's either political or some thought that I had, and then they don't come back at me about the thought. They come back at me with they don't like me.
Right. At that
Like,
point, it's
I don't
like you
care.
just didn't have anything to say. You
Right.
know.
It's nothing. Like that's not a thing either. But yeah, I don't know. Like some of that stuff, I find myself now on social media more than I was before, and I don't want to be. No.
There's always funny things. There's like a newspaper article from like 2005 and it's like spinning out of control. Man spends 90 minutes a day online, and you're like, oh god.
Some of the stuff that becomes viral though gets so tiring. The stupid cat with the woman pointing at the cat.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so tired. of
Yeah,
that.
sometimes
stop
like it's
doing
new
that.
material.
The grumpy cat ones that were like
I never got into that cat.
well, that was like
stuff,
a year ago or whatever.
Right,
The
right.
grumpy cat was the thing.
Pretty sure
It's
that
like-
cat's dead now.
Yeah, I don't care.
Sure. The funny thing with cats now is like the people who own those cats, like the internet cat owners, will like they get their cats really fat because then they can be an internet personality. The cat can, and it's like then people go on there and they're like, "This is terrible. You know how you're an evil person. You made this cat like it's like 100-pound cat. It's got heart diseases and terrible things, and they're just like, look how famous it is."
Right. The people did their children the same way. Long time ago, the pageant stuff. and
Oh
everything
yeah,
else.
yeah. That's
creepy.
disgusting.
I don't know. Like, so everybody's family's different. People do different things. We've seen crazy people in wrestling as far as the parents go. I mean, we're never gonna like name names, but do you remember the one time we were at Joel Thole and the guy got arrested for beating up his kid in the hallway?
Yeah.
Remember who that was, right?
Yeah, I do. I know I wrestled that guy too, and
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
always like, maybe there's something. Like I always thought, like because I actually beat that guy a few years later, which I was super proud of. He beat me a few years before, so I was like, I had to win that match, and I was like, oh, his dad. Nothing
Beat him up
happens
for
to
that.
him.
Yeah, right.
In the match, I was like super serious about to beat him, and then I got done, and I'm like, oh god, I hope I didn't do anything.
Right. It was like.
Right.
You never lived in a world where you were like, I mean, everybody's always like afraid that your dad's gonna be let down with you,
Sure.
but you never lived in a world where you thought it was gonna be like throwing
Yeah,
shit or
yeah.
mad or anything like that. And this guy got arrested for beating up his dude. He was 10 or 11 years old when that happened.
Yeah.
That I'm like, you beat up an 11-year-old kid? I mean, you know what you weigh when you're 11? Like 82 pounds or 84 pounds. Like
Yeah.
he beat him up in the hallway for losing a match. I was like, what the fuck? So like there's wackadoos everywhere. And then when you see like the pageant stuff and everything else, like I find it super creepy as far as that goes. And there's people out there that do pageant and maybe it's something else to them. And maybe you're not the creepy one because the news story is going to be the guy who beat up the kid at the wrestling match meet. The news story for pageant is going to be like the crazy mother that was like selling child porn of her daughter or something like weird shit, right? Like it's some fucked up shit to try and get her ahead. But I'm sure there's people in all that stuff that it's okay. You know what I mean? That they're like doing it for
Right. I mean, if the kid likes doing it, they keep doing it. But a lot of like there's that TV show, and it never seems like the kids like it. Like there's always memes about it and stuff, and it's always like the kid looks totally miserable, and you're like,
and when you
how
look
do you
at
do
it,
that as a parent? How do you keep your kid?
right? That's probably good TV, right? Because that's what someone wants to see is the kid that's fucked up. But we ran into in all the years you wrestled, we ran into kids that didn't like wrestling.
Absolutely.
That they were there because their parents wanted them there. Their parents pushed it for like years after the kid didn't want to wrestle anymore. That the kid was there. My dad's making me do this. I've never seen one that was successful.
Yeah, I think you gotta take it into your own hands to be successful. And if you don't do that, if you're just doing it whatever
You're never
you
gonna do
have
that if
to,
you're
you're only
doing
doing practice. You're
Right.
never doing your own stuff.
Right. So you're never going to do that if it's only your parents making you
Yeah.
do it, sort of thing. So, but that's the interesting story, right? Hey, if you could make a little less noise,
You can't hear it.
yes, we
All
can.
right, so Ernie has a question.
Ernie's got a question. What's Ernie's question?
Ernie says, your father has shown through social media how proud he is of both of you. How does your father inspire you to be the great kids that you are?
Yeah, and I don't know if I post the stuff because I am proud of you guys, and I think that some people will take it as I'm bragging. I'm not. There's never been I'd like you to elaborate on that. There's never been a time in your life that you've done something and I've ever taken any credit for it. Like I've never been like, it's because I did, like,
Yeah, right.
nothing. Like, that's not my thing. In fact, I say the opposite. I'm like, hey, you guys are going to do all this stuff. You're going to get a medal. No one's ever going to put a medal on me. I'm not looking for a medal. But I do post it because I think what you guys do as far as the wrestling stuff goes, the construction stuff goes, it's all about the fact that you did hard work to get there, sort of a thing. So, answer Ernie's question, though. Like, how would you answer that as far as how I inspire him?
Yes.
I don't know. Am I inspirational?
In a way, I think so. I mean, I guess you've always shown that, like, I mean, you don't have to be the best at something. And I mean, you put us in wrestling, and wrestling really shows that. But if you're going to work harder than everyone around you, then you're going to be the top guy. And that's always that's always a really cool thing.
Right. And I think I always just tried to live it by example. Like, I didn't try and tell you guys that you got to, I don't think I've ever looked at and said, you got to be the best, Garrett. Or that's a weird thing, right, to say. But I always said that in my life, if I was going to do something, I was going to try to outshine somebody else, sort of a thing. If I was at work, I was going to put more roofing down than the next guy. If I was going to carry more 2x4s, I was going to be the guy that did the more thing. I got a real problem with people that are boring. I really do. Like, boring or like satisfied with mediocrity bothers me. It's like, why would you? I would rather try something and fail.
Right. Everyone's afraid of failure, but
yeah. Well, and I think there's a lot of people that have regrets that I talk to. They're like, oh, I wish I would have tried this or would have tried that. But the reason that they didn't try it when they were younger was they were afraid they were going to fail. They were going to stink at it. I grew up with guys that were like, oh, hockey's stupid. And it was because they couldn't skate.
right.
As soon as they could skate, they took a different view on it, right? So like, it was done before they were good at it, which that's nonsense. You can't get good at something unless you put everything into it. The biggest gripe I ever had with the guys your age, was people that would act like it didn't mean a lot.
Right.
And wrestling's one of those things that, listen, every time you get on the mat, it means a lot. Like, you can't be in front of a crowd and lose and be like, didn't care anyway.
Right. Everything about a tournament. I mean, all the people there. Then I mean, that's obviously a big part of why you put everything into winning a match. But a lot of it is like if I lose, like, I care about like other people seeing that, whatever like that. So you're not gonna act out about it. But I mean, probably the biggest, probably the worst part about losing is just like kind of what I tell myself, and kind of like how I get myself down about that, and I don't want to do that. So then you try everything you can to win.
Right. Now, I think that some people outside of you, like outside of our family and stuff, see me busting around in a wheelchair and doing everything that I do. Like, I mean, I drove you guys 10 hours to Oklahoma to wrestle, being in a wheelchair and everything else. So, like, nothing stopped me from doing that. There's people that are walking around that would not have driven 10 hours straight to go to a wrestling tournament. I think that they think that you should be inspired by me because of the wheelchair stuff. The problem that occurs in real life is you only know me, right? To be that way.
That's true.
So there's no perspective that you have, right? If you had had me as a parent for some time before that I was walking around, you had some comparison to make, well, then that'd be different. Like, it got way harder. You were a year and a half old when I broke my neck. So I mean, so I think, and I know that friends of mine that I go out with, they feel inspired by me. You know what I mean? Like, there's people that have flat out said, I got a couple buddies that deal with a little bit of depression, and they're like, don't take this the wrong way, but I like to go out to lunch with you because you make me feel better about myself. It's kind of like shit. It's almost like, yeah, because you're not in this situation. Like, well, yeah, because they're like, they got their own problems, and they're like, it could always be worse. I can have all those same problems.
Right. I mean, saying it could always be worse than looking at you is probably not a great thing, but they're always saying, like, if you can do it, if you in your situation, then they should be able to get through their stuff.
Right. The one that I don't want anyone to ever be like, I have someone that's like complaining about a bad back. My back's gonna kill me. They're like, oh yeah, well I shouldn't be complaining to you. I'm like, no. Like everyone's got their things that like bother
We probably don't like acting like people acting like you're
Yeah,
a sick
no.
puppy or something.
Right. Nobody's gonna act like their world's falling apart because of something small in front of me. But everybody's got things that make it a bad day for them, make it, rough on them. And I can totally understand that situation. And then I really don't expect everybody to do everything that I do anyway. You know what I mean? Like I see people that are my age, able-bodied, and they're in far worse shape than I'm in. Like healthy wise, they don't work out, they don't do any of that kind of stuff. So like everybody's still everybody. You're still who you are. There's people that break their neck and end up in a wheelchair, and they were lazy bums before they got in the wheelchair, and they're lazy bums after they got in the wheelchair, and that's just how it's going to be. So yeah, I mean, I think that people always look for me to be some sort of inspiration on you. I don't think I try to be inspirational to you. I think I try to make sure that I talk about a lot of shit that maybe does it seem boring when I say stuff like you gotta live by a code and you gotta.
No, I like that actually. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, all right. Because I mean, I'm big on that shit, right? Like
Yeah.
you being if I live my whole life and even if someone walked with me because they don't like what I had to say, but I was honest with them, I'm fine about me then. I don't give a shit if you don't like it. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care about any of that. I was honest with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit so that you can feel better about you and I can bullshit you into liking me.
Sure, I feel like that goes back to like the whole social media and then like people like putting up a front because people on social media only post the good things about themselves and everything like that, and then they're not actually that person. They're kind of almost bullshitting everybody around them. I think they're a cool person, and then it's like you're just kind of nobody.
Well, I can't even imagine. We call them posers.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if that's a thing that on social media, but like, and posers were somebody when I was growing up that were like more like, okay, so if I had the mohawk, the combat boots, all that sort of stuff, and I listened to punk music and everything else. You'd have people that would like see that somehow they would think that was cool, so they would start to do it, and then they were posers, sort of thing, right? Or somebody that dressed like a skater dude and he couldn't skate. You're a poser because you're just faking it. Now you can almost build an online persona that's so not you.
Yeah, right. People do that for sure. People have like fake personalities and stuff. We kind of just call them fake people.
Right, but it's gotta be weird too because some people live on their parents. Like, there was who was it? It was like somebody that was really rich, and their kid was a comedian, and their kid looked at him and said, "Hey, are we rich?" He goes, "Well, I'm rich. You ain't got shit." You know what I mean? Like, you don't have anything. So like this kid who's like, showing pictures of his super cool this and his super cool house on, you don't have anything. Like that doesn't mean that you're
right.
You know what I mean? That's your thing. I mean, I know people that the parents are doctors or dentists or lawyers, and the kids are kind of dum-dums. They're not going to like be any of that stuff. So like if you're taking pictures of your cool vacations and your cool car that your parents bought you and everything else, sooner or later that's over.
Right. Always like having stuff is never as cool as being someone.
Well, I think I told you that when you guys like. So I guess what being paralyzed has done for me is afforded me a lot of time to think of things like that, to tell you guys. I remember telling you guys when you were little, like somebody that's dressing cool is buying that. Like they're buying that. And that could just be taken away. You could grab that person and strip the clothes off them in the alley, then they're not cool anymore.
Right.
But if you're a guy who wins wrestling matches, they can't take that away. That's a thing that you did. You worked to get it. Anything that you work to get for, the carpentry thing, right? If you work carpentry for years and years and years, you become a really good carpenter. If I took all your tools away and shipped you off to Colorado, couldn't you still be a carpenter?
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't take it away, right? Nothing I could do to take it away. But if somebody was like, they had a really cool car, they had a really cool pool, they all this other
They're
shit.
kind of just buying their way to be
Cool.
a cool person, and that's not.
And I mean, the personas are stuff like that too. Like people that try and be like, I'm a hippie or I'm a, rap thug or whatever. I don't even know what, what someone trying to act like now. That can all be taken away. But
Sure.
if you're the very best at something that is real, that can't be taken away.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, I always wanted to instill things in you like that. And I wouldn't say that we've had our moments where I was not your favorite person in the world for sure. As far as like, I made it hard on you, you didn't like it.
Right.
But you've never had a time in your life where I made it hard on you for something that wasn't going to benefit you.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know what I mean? I've never been like just a dick to be a dick.
Right.
Like, or we've never been somewhere where I'm trying to put you down and make you look dumb
Yeah.
for any reason like that either. So I don't know. I try and be as fair about it as possible, because we've never been friends either. Like you, I've made that clear to you too that I'm not one of your goddamn
Yep.
friends. I think you've heard me say that too many fucking times that I'm not one of your goddamn friends. But we've had it where I don't know. I hope that. Honestly, even right now, you're 18 years old, I'm 48 years old. If someone said, hey, you can hang out for the day, you've only got 5 days left, Bill. You can hang out for the day with this person or that person or somebody famous or something like that. I would choose to hang out with you two guys for the day. If someone's construction, like I can structure however I want to, it would be in the boat, on a real nice lake, we catch some nice fish, that kind of thing for sure would be the thing. And then, we would do that. I also like it better sometimes when I can hang out with just one of you.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think sometimes we don't want to say things around each other because
Well, it's not
Yeah.
that. It's that I don't like to hang out with the
Okay.
two of you together because the two of you start picking with each other. And I got to listen to that. That's not my favorite. And it's not my favorite just because I think it's selfish. I only have so much time with you. So I want like to have a good time and like stuff like that. Like I don't want a forced good time, but I want to have a decent time. So I don't know. What else? We were talking. Me and Paige were talking about AI last night. We kind of got sidetracked. You do you have any thoughts on the AI stuff?
one thing you guys were talking about AI replacing like engineers.
Yeah.
And I was looking that up
Now,
by the time
the Andrew Yang was going through the things, and he was like, "There's a whole mess of things that you think AI can't replace, but it can, like attorneys, like."
Sure.
All kinds of stuff that like almost everything that you do is research based, right? So you're going to look it up. If you're an attorney, you're going to look up precedent for different laws and stuff like that. The computer can do that way faster than an attorney can and more accurately.
Right, sure. But I know creativity can be difficult for AI. There's actually radio stations out there that are not like super popular but have some bit of popularity, and all their songs are made by AI and robots and stuff because there's some mathematical equation you can make like rock songs, and like it'll tell you like somehow the AI figured out it can make a song, tell you how popular that's gonna be, and then it puts it on the radio and it's pretty accurate. And I'm like, that's exactly
I would argue. I would say that you could probably.
no, like that's real. Like that's what
I
I'm
understand what you're saying,
Like,
but what I'm saying with the song thing, so let's equate it to a football player, right?
sure.
I think that you could make AI make an average football player, but you can't make AI make a Barry Sanders or a Walter Payton.
Right. Anyone that's over and above is gonna have some bit of creativity they're throwing in there to be different than that, be above.
They're going to be
everyone else, right?
the innovator of the thing, right? So like when you hear, so let's take a band like Led Zeppelin, right? They started doing weird shit. Like the guy would grab the bow from a violin and everything else. AI is never going to come up with that on its own.
Sure.
They're going to take all the other things. It's an algorithm. This is popular. This is popular. This is popular. This became popular. They did this riff, that became popular. This sound together is popular. I
Right.
can
It's
make
probably gonna sound a lot like
right.
his rock. I mean, there's a lot of rock
Well, because
sounds.
it's
so.
doing it off data.
Right.
When somebody else does what they think is cool, they do it off emotion. Just whatever. So like even like the Star Trek thing, right? The Star Trek thing is that Spock is half Vulcan and he's half emotionless.
Right.
And he can't seem to comprehend some things just because he's half emotionless. And the duality that he's dealing with is that he's half. So in his mind and in the Vulcan mind, it's more impressive to be a Vulcan than it is to be a human because we're logical,
Sure.
right? We do all this logical shit. So he has a battle going on inside himself. He wants to be the better thing that he thinks it is, the Vulcan. But the emotions are actually the better thing. You're better if you're emotional and you give a shit about something than you are. A straight Vulcan could be like, well, 30% of us are going to die, so let's just get that 30% done and we can move on with the other 70%. Where the emotional person's like, I can't lose.
Yeah, right.
30% is fucking people.
I think emotion maybe would push you to work harder in that situation too.
Right. But if you take a band like Led Zeppelin, they made music that sounded different than other bands, and they became the band with the biggest, the Stairway to Heaven hit, which, like I said the other day, they stole part of that from some of their opening band. But when you hear a song, like I liked that Feel It Still by Portugal the Man.
Sure. I think that got overplayed a lot. And I started to hit that song at a point,
But it became a monstrous hit. I think that one summer we were working doing decks, it was number one
for like 5
17
months or something.
17 weeks or some stuff. It was on top of the charts, which was like a new record or something like that. But it was a different sounding song than anything that was out there. So AI could not have duplicated that.
Right, AI does really good with math and stuff. Like I just don't know that much about it, but AI does really good with math and data and stuff. So they can usually find the best thing. Like I have this CAD software on my phone, and you can put in almost like constraints for something. Like you need a connection here, and you need it to be strong in this direction, and the AI can build you the very best possible thing, the best possible like frame for something to meet those constraints. Like they put in constraints for like a drone, like it has 4 propellers, and it has to be able to be strong in this direction. And it almost looks organic when it makes it, because it works the same way evolution works. You know, this works better, and then it keeps moving that way.
Yeah, right.
And the frame it came up with is like almost identical to the like pelvis of a flying squirrel. Isn't that kind of,
Right.
It works just like evolution like that. But if you're an engineer and you wanted to make something to solve some new problem, AI wouldn't be able to do that. You would have to do it yourself.
Right. So that those are the things about AI that I love. I love that it can do.
It can make things perfect, but it's not going to make new things.
Right.
As much. It's not right.
I like that it can do. I mean, I guess it could if you set it to task to find a way to travel light speed or find a way to travel at the fastest it could travel. It can come up with better propulsion, more efficient fuel economy, all those things by running scenarios. It's never going to come up with how to full time though.
Right.
Because you'd have to have a basic of knowledge.
Unless we made that like sentient kind of where it can think for itself and do its own thing.
Right. Which therein lies the danger though, right? If it becomes sentient, then it's might think I don't need you. I have figured out a way to make myself powered up. I'm self-sufficient. The only thing holding me back is that you're here, and I don't need you here.
Yeah, maybe we'd have to connect it to one of those bikes where you got to keep pedaling, so it needs that person.
You're the squirrel. Running the wheel. But yeah, so I mean, if you feel like that's dangerous, like I think that if AI kept running the scenarios, like I had you guys watch that War Games movie. It was where the kid found the machine that lets play a game, and they started playing chess, and then it played the War Games thing, and then the kid beat it by letting it run scenario after scenario and figuring out that thermonuclear war, there wasn't a winning. You couldn't win. So then it didn't do it. Like it took control of the actual missiles, and
Yeah.
the military thought that it was going to blow up the world.
But it was doing it to save.
Well, it was
itself.
doing it just to play a game. It didn't know that it was doing it, sort of thing. But then when the other side started arming itself because they thought we were arming, it escalated. And then, but the kid said, let him play the game, run the scenarios. He'll find out that there is no way to win this. I would think that if you were AI, the world's a big place. It would be very difficult for a computer system like Skynet or something like that to wipe out all the people. Like, we're like ants. We're everywhere, sort of.
I don't know, but I mean, gases and viruses.
The virus thing.
Viruses,
For sure. I mean,
gas,
that's
like gas
topical.
and toxics. They don't kill computers and stuff and
Right.
machines. So
But I mean, not to talk about the virus that's out there now, but they were saying that.
that was created by people.
Right. But they're saying, I heard a news story, and I don't know what's truth about it or not, that blood type is having an effect on it. Like if you're O positive or you're A negative or something like that, or B negative, whatever it is, some of them are more susceptible to it, and other ones are not. So like, if an AI created a virus, they'd have to create one that killed everybody. And they had like, it seems like the viruses are maybe not what they would call elegant now, right? Where they don't have everything. They're either Ebola had like a 90% kill people, but you had a hard time getting it. It wasn't super infectious.
Right. There's this app called Plague Inc. And it's just kind of like you set like, what you want your plague to be able to do. Is it really good at being contagious? How does it spread? Stuff like that. And then you choose where it starts, and it'll kind of move around the globe. And then countries will come up with vaccines and stuff. And the goal is to kill everybody because you're the plague. And what was I saying? What was I saying? But with
We
the
were talking
plague,
about
right.
Not being, deadly.
You can kind of evolve it as it's going, and that's just like a simulation of what could happen. I mean, if a computer got a hold of that and they were able to make a virus like that, it could be positive that would work and not just be like a shot in the dark.
Right. Yeah, I mean, now video game wise, you guys were never big video game players.
No.
Still not. We were at one of the colleges. I don't want to say which one. Like we were in the locker room. They had it like set up where the TV would be in the couches and stuff. And I was talking to one coach. I'm like, no video games. And you see, no one's really that. I wonder if the more of a better wrestler you are, the less of that you have time for it to begin with.
Right?
Nah, that's not true.
No.
Yeah.
Why?
Because like John, he's like super into
Job,
games.
Not like into video games, but
Yeah, but he's not going to do it at school.
Glenn will stay up till 2 a.m.
Right. I mean,
Fortnite.
if you have a lot of stuff you spend doing your time, putting your time into, you don't have time for that.
Right. I just wonder
But
if
it's
Glenn was
also a
like that
social
when he
thing
was
too.
younger, though, because he's
Well, I
not.
don't know all that much, but I think he went to school for business, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm thinking he wasn't like a straight A student all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of wrestlers seem to go to school for business, and a lot of other, athletes, because
Right.
nothing against that. It's just they
No,
just
no,
seem
right,
to do
right.
that a lot.
I think there's only so much time in the day to do that. I mean, I played video games with my friends. I was never someone that was like, we considered a gamer, but we played like, Tomb Raider and like all that kind of stuff. Like those games were cool because you were making like it was a story sort of thing, and you were building on.
Sure, a lot of people use it like for social reasons. I mean, you could get on there and have, 6 people in your party, and you could all be playing a game together. Just kind of like instead of going out and doing something, you could all be there. You can all be having voice conversations and everything like that,
Right.
and doing your thing. I mean, you could have friends that are, in California or whatever like that, and you can all be
Right.
you can all have that common interest.
Super connected as far as that goes. But I don't know. You guys got to get. I would like for you to get out on the water here and catch some bluegills for sure, so that we could do a fish fry or something like that coming up just for something to do. And then if the weather does, which it doesn't look like it's going to, it looks like about 8 days now it's in the 40s out, so it looks crappy still. But if the weather did break, I want to get outside and clean up the patio and like do stuff out there that we're gonna do. We're gonna wrap this up here pretty soon, and no callers or anything, right?
Nope, no one got mine.
So let's wrap it up. And that pulled pork smells pretty damn good right now.
All good.
So we'll come back and do it another time. If someone wants to get involved, chat with us or something, that'd be good. I need not make so much noise. But some other time, next time we're on, get involved. Thanks for watching. Jeez, Peyton.